This is Charter Local Edition. My name is Brad Pomerance in Nashville, and we are joined by someone who represents parts of Nashville in the Tennessee House of Representatives. His name is Jason Powell. He is very proud of his home state of Tennessee. It is your home state? You grew up here?
Home state, born and raised.
No doubt. And so I want to ask you about some legislation you got passed as a Democrat, not bad, and it focuses upon Tennessee pride. Tell us about it.
Sure thing. I'm a big believer in the state of Tennessee, and so I saw that we've got a program that dealt with agriculture called the Pick Tennessee Products program. And I said, we need something similar for commerce.
Sure.
So I wrote a bill a couple of years ago called the Made in Tennessee Act. Okay. Was very proud of it. Allowed companies that are here based in Tennessee that manufacture and make Tennessee products to put an official logo on their products to advertise that the products are made here in the state of Tennessee.
That's very cool.
Thank you very much. I'm really proud of it. And so the University of Tennessee actually has led the development. First it was a pilot project. Then it became a full-time project when we passed it unanimously. And then the next session, we came back and made it a permanent program. So it's great to see all these different companies that are out there promoting Tennessee.
And so if I were to buy a product in Kentucky, it could say made in Tennessee. It's not just products that are sold here.
That's absolutely correct. It's not just
cool.
It's not just products sold here in Tennessee. It could be throughout the country. So great program.
And who decides if a product is made in Tennessee?
So the University of Tennessee, we're very proud of the university here. They actually are the ones who have promulgated rules that govern the products.
Well, that makes it a little less, craze when you think about government deciding who makes what and decides how something's labeled. So let the academics handle that.
That's right. That's right.
You mentioned that you were able to get the resolution passed by unanimous vote, and then when it came back, was it equally unanimous?
It was unanimous again. It was unanimous
As a Democrat in Tennessee, at least in 2016, get anything passed unanimously?
Right. I'm a big believer in reaching across the aisle, working with everyone, coming up with common sense solutions. My background, I played college football.
Oh, did you where?
University of Colorado.
I want to talk about that.
Yeah.
That's a better interview, but we'll go there later.
That's right. But so I was an offensive lineman, and offensive linemen have to work together to get things done.
Yes.
We have two responsibilities in offensive line. One is to, whatever obstacles in your way, to move them out of your way and then protect the quarterback's back.
Of course.
And so I pride myself as somebody who can work through obstacles, but then also protect, in this case, it would be the people's back.
Right.
And so, I think that I have a reputation for being very common sense, somebody who's fair, and is up here to create good policy, to work on behalf of all Tennesseans, especially the people in my district, District 53 here.
And tell us about it. I mean, are we actually in your district? Is the Capitol in your district?
It's not exactly in my district, but we're just we're down the street. So I represent South Nashville, and it's a great community.
Indeed.
My wife and I are proud to live in District 53. We've got some great attractions like the Nashville Zoo.
Nice.
And it's a very diverse community, and so we really enjoy it, and it's a short commute, but we're able to get down here pretty easily.
I want to ask you more about bipartisanship and frame it in the context of the question of transportation funding.
Sure.
As you know, Tennessee has not increased its gas tax fee, whatever you want to call it, since 1989. Now, that feels good intuitively, but the challenge is since 1989, we have more fuel-efficient vehicles, so we're collecting less tax there. We have vehicles that don't even use gasoline, so that's a challenge. We have inflation. We have gas prices dropping. We have construction costs going up. And so while Tennessee's roads are in pretty decent shape today, unless arguably more money's brought in through the gas tax, our future could be different.
Right. We've got to find a great solution to make sure that we adequately fund the roads, and not just roads, but also look at public transportation investments. My district has some of the most busiest roads in the entire state.
I mean, come on, you live in Nashville, you live in Tennessee for no traffic. That's left to the folks in LA and Atlanta. I mean, what happened?
Well, Nolensville Pike is a major thoroughfare in my district, and we have 3 of the busiest intersections in the entire state of Tennessee. And so the congestion and commute is a major issue, and it's a quality of life issue. The longer that you're spending in your car, that's less time you have to spend with your friends and your family.
And, work productivity.
That's right.
I mean, in the end, if you're not at work, you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. So we're losing revenue, income to the state.
Absolutely. And so One of the things I did when I first got elected was there is a portion of my district where the road needs to be widened.
Okay.
And it goes from basically 6 lanes to 2 lanes.
That's so frustrating.
It really is.
So incredibly frustrating.
And so it's a major bottleneck. So I looked at it and I said, there was already plans in the work. Why hasn't this been funded? And so TDOT's been really good at looking at that. They're coming up with a plan. They've had to, when they originally proposed it, the cost wasn't truly that significant. But since basically you had a delay of several years, the project had doubled, if not tripled in cost. Right.
But the challenge becomes your friends in the Republican caucus, it's hard for them to vote in favor of tax increases, whatever that may mean. I've spoken with some of your friends in the Republican caucus, and some of them are framing it not so much as a tax, but a user fee, because in effect it is.
Correct.
But still, I mean, you have organizations, AFP, I mean, they really stick it to folks on the question of taxing. And so how do you work, as someone who has success working in a bipartisan fashion, to create an environment whereby Democrats and Republicans can come together on this question of gas?
Right. Well, I do think that it impacts a lot of people here in the General Assembly, and they want to come up with a solution. You mentioned hybrid vehicles. I mean, there's other things now where we're able to track miles traveled. So I think there's a lot of different options.
Are you looking at VMT, vehicles miles traveled?
I think there's a lot of different options on the table, but inaction is not one of them. We've got to move quickly and make sure that we take action to adequately fund our roads and look at public transportation. Really proud of some of the things we're looking at here in Nashville to create public transportation options for the future.
Now, the governor, who happens to be a Republican himself, he seems to be somewhat on board on this question of looking at how to better fund our roads. Is he, in your mind, or will he be able to get something through in this session, or are we looking towards next year, if you had to estimate?
Right. I wish we had some good legislation this session. We haven't seen anything. So I think we're looking at this. We're going to be looking at this issue. If I have the good fortune of coming back and serving the legislature next year, then this is an issue I really want to tackle. Look at a great, equitable solution so that we have good funding in place for years to come for our roads.
So the question becomes, as you suggested, you're running for re-election, is transportation an issue that will drive voters, especially voters in right-of-center counties or districts? Is that your sense?
I think certainly in my district it will. My district is very unique in the fact that it's pretty much down the middle as far as its balance. And so I have a great constituency, and they want to see a common sense solution. I do think, especially because traffic, so many people spend hours and hours a week in the car, that they want to find a solution to the traffic congestion.
So you mentioned public transportation. That's a long-term project. I mean, could it be, for example, with Tennessee having a surplus, almost $2 billion, not bad. I mean, could money be set aside for studying the issue, or at least getting some public transportation projects going?
And we do have a surplus, but the issue with roads is where it's in the billions of dollars.
It is, no, indeed. But that being said, I mean, some one-time money could get something started. I don't know.
It could.
I'm just thinking.
Hey, I'm all for the one-time money being used for Nolensville Pike. And so we're hopeful that some of that will go to areas. We've got another portion of my district where there's been a lot of traffic. And TDOT does a good job. They look at issues.
Department of Transportation.
That's right. They do a good job of taking a look at areas that maybe have more wrecks or more injuries or potentially even death, and say, look, this is an area we really need to address. I have one of those in my district where there's been a couple different accidents. And some catastrophic situations with people crossing the street. And so they're looking at that and saying, let's move that to the front because that's really a safety issue.
When you come back, I want to talk more about what's happening in transportation, okay?
Great, thank you.
His name is Jason Powell. He is a member of the Tennessee House of Representatives. We're in Nashville today. This is Charter Local Edition.